Jane Roe lied about being pro-life. If you're not familiar with her, her real name is Norma Mccurvey, and she is the Jane Roe from the Roe v Wade Supreme Court decision of 1973. However, for the past 2 decades, she has claimed that she changed her mind on the issue of abortion and that she is now pro-life. And she's worked with many pro-life organizations to try and bring about that cause and, I guess, end abortion. But none of that was true. She only did it for the money. Let's look at this. There is a documentary coming out fairly shortly which talks about her life, Norma Mccurvey, and where she came from. It was 1970, she was living in Texas, and she was pregnant. She wanted to get an abortion but couldn't because of the laws of the land, which I think is a good thing, but I digress. And so she decided to start fighting her way to try and legalize abortion. Eventually, in 1973, Roe v. Wade happened and it essentially became legalized across the entire nation. Now, it is true that Norma never had an abortion. However, there are many people who talk about her as being pro-life. For example, we have this from 1995 showing that Jane Roe joined an anti-abortion group. And for 2 decades, from 95 on till now, she was essentially a pro-life activist. But don't take my word for it, let's see what she had to say. I think it's safe to say that the entire abortion industry is based on a lie. I am dedicated to spending the rest of my life undoing the law that bears my name. This is a quote from Norma Mccurvey, who is once again the Roe in the Roe v. Wade Supreme Court decision. Now, I've seen things like this shared in a lot of pro-life groups. They look at her and they say Roe v. Wade was based on a lie because she is pro-life. Personally, I never really thought that was relevant. I am against Roe v. Wade because of what it stands for, not because of who was involved. But now, even this doesn't make any sense. You see, this documentary reveals that Norma Mccurvey actually was never pro-life, and she was just in it for the money. The article talking about this from the Chicago Tribune says that despite her visible role in the fight against abortion, Mccurvey says she was a mercenary, not a true believer. Once again, she was only in it for the money. And one of the people who was paying her, who was a leader of one of these pro-life groups at one point, said that he was paying her because he was concerned that, quote, she would go back to the other side, which just really shows how much confidence he had in her to begin with, that if you're paying someone to try and stay with your position, then you're not doing them any service and they're obviously not really involved in the fight, which is what we see here. This documentary is revealing, like I said, that she was never really pro-life. That for 2 decades, she lied about being pro-life because she was getting paid for it. Now, she's allowed to do that. It's her prerogative if she wants to get paid and lie about it. But honestly, I think this says more about her character than anything else. How can you for 2 decades claim to believe in something and fight for it, but not really care about it? You just want to receive a check. I can't really wrap my head around that. The things I do and say is because I believe in them, not because someone is paying me. You couldn't pay me enough money to come out in favor of abortion. It would never happen. And yet, Norma Mccurvey didn't really care. Now, I don't want to talk ill about her because she was just essentially making money. And she can do that how she sees fit. She did nothing illegal, but I do think we need to be aware of this. Now, as I said before, I don't really think even when she was supposedly pro-life, it mattered too much, because she's just one individual. But now that we know she never was really pro-life, she was a fake pro-lifer, you could say, then we need to really stop using her as an example. So if you're pro-life and you have used her as an example before, you need to stop, because she's obviously not pro-life. And I think this shows the danger of basing too much of your argument or your beliefs in an individual, because they're fallible. They can lie, they can make mistakes, they can mess up. That's not to say you can't respect someone's opinions or beliefs, but it does mean you need to form them yourselves. If you're pro-life, it should be because you believe abortion is wrong, not because someone you know or someone you admire is pro-life. That's not really how it should work. It can start that way, but you need to figure it out for yourself, which obviously she never did. So don't be like Norma Mccurvey. Stand by what you believe in. And even if it's something I disagree with, at least stand by it and don't sell out for money. That's the takeaway from this video. And I'll see you next time.